your team got guaranteed money, tell them call me.
Whoop. Make me say, my. I done been around the world.
Yeah, I was made for this.
Player Performance with J.A. Cavalier.
Hey, what's going on, everybody, on this beautiful Saturday? It is the Player Performance Show live on a Saturday on the J.A. Cavalier channel. How's everybody doing in the chat? We got Adam Batman. We got Sup Said. We got Jared Kavanaugh in the building. Ryan Grimes. Everybody get into the chat. We're going to be talking, engaging. The Shark lost power. Can't do a show today. However, you get me, the Gunz, to give you the plays that pay the bills. And we've been on a little bit of a streak. 6 out of the last 7 days, we have gotten you profit if you've been following along with the VIPs. And believe me, you need to sign up for this investment on the MLB packages, because why? I'm going to have a max bet today. Yes, that's right. I give out rare max bets, but today is the day that I'm going to give you a hammer. And I'm going to put that in my Telegram today on Why Lose Guns. So please check that out. If you don't know where Why Lose Guns on Telegram is, you go to my Instagram, whylose_guns. There's a link in the bio on Instagram. Click it, get in, and there'll be a special deal. And it's so special. And I love this place so much. If it doesn't hit, I'll give you a month free. How about that? So that's what we're going to be doing here. But we are talking about the entire Saturday MLB slate. Player Performance on a Saturday starts now.
I live the bright lights, the type, the crowd lights. Where you at, ballers? Ladies love me and men, they want a Billy, they pay to come see me. Where you at, ballers?
You know how the show works. We don't waste no time. Let's go to the first game on the board in San Francisco. Actually, in Toronto, for that matter. San Francisco's going against Toronto here. An electric pitching matchup between two great pitchers. We got Logan Webb on one side and Eric Lauer on the other. If we look at Logan Webb, done pretty well as far as unders go. Kind of an under pitcher, 63 to the under in all of Webb starts as a favorite this season. The totals have ranged anywhere between 6.5 and 8, which is where this total stands currently. Also, you got to look at Eric Lauer on the other side. He's 3-0 to the under. As a start, when he starts as a dog, which is kind of one of those rare elements here. He's also 6-2 to the under in all of his starts this year. Also, Eric Lauer is a lefty. And if you know anything about the San Francisco Giants batting lineup, they have underperformed versus lefties this season. They're ranked 30th in batting average and 25th in RBIs versus lefties this season. So if there's anything that I know, when you're dealing with Logan Webb, he's an under pitcher. And when they're facing lefties, it gets even lower. So the only way I'd play this game is San Francisco, Toronto under the total full game as the first play on the Saturday show. Jay Main in the chat says under 8 for me. Don't like it, love it, don't want it, need it. That's how we're going to be doing that one. And Jared Kavanaugh says Giants can't score, period. I mean, in general, yes, but they can't even score against lefties. It gets even stronger when they're dealing with those. And I think that's why I think a lot of teams strategically put their pitching lineups that way too, because I've seen a lot of times where I'm capping these Giants games and they're facing a lefty. So I think it's strategic on the manager's part. And Stealth Success says, why the under, though? I go, I just gave you the cap, man. That's why we're taking the under. Anyways, I digress. Let's go into the next play on the board here. We got Cincinnati versus the New York Metropolitans in New York, New York. Oh, wrong chat. Let's go into this one here in this NL matchup. Nick Martinez is going to be on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati is 3-1 straight up in Martinez's last 4 starts, and they're 9-1 to the over in their last 10. But majority of the overs have been in situations where the total is 9 or more. So take note of that if you're looking towards the over in this game. Also, Cincinnati has just underperformed versus the NL East when Martinez is on the bump. 0-3 straight up versus NL teams, and that was versus the worst of the NL East teams. We're talking about Miami and Washington, okay? Granted, Miami, hot team off and on this season. I consider them on the bottom barrel as far as that NL East hierarchy is concerned. Then you got Cincinnati, 0-4 straight up, 4-1 to the run line, and 4-1 to the over as a dog of plus 120 or 5 or more in Martinez's starts, all road games, by the way, in those situations. Then you got Chad Holmes on the other side here. when he is minus 150 plus as a favorite this year in those spots this season, the Mets have really showed up for him. 7-1 straight up and 5-3 to the run line in those spots. Only run line loss in that sample size, twice versus Washington and versus AL teams. Was twice versus the AL teams. Got to read my notes a little bit better, and one versus a divisional opponent. Different situation here. You're going outside the division, of course, going against an NL Central team. Also, Holmes is 3-2 to the run line, 4-1 to the over versus NL Central teams, and this is the highest total in home starts versus the NL Central. So when I'm going to be taking this game, as much as I want to take the over in the full game, I think it's better to just split it. Let's just go with the first 5 on this one. If I was going to be picking this game, slight lead on this one, give me Cincinnati, New York Mets over 4.5, first 5 as the play, baby. All right. Going back there, Jay Main says, get them, then lose again to Abbott. Metropolitans he's referring to, of course. We got some chats in here. For a second thought, it was Bears logo. Getting into these ones. Let's get into the next play on the board here. Let's talk about Kansas City Royals versus the Miami Marlins here. We got Walker versus Quantrill, okay? Interleague battle here, of course, going into extra innings yesterday, over on the total on that one. And, of course, KC making that comeback, but it just fell short. When you look at Walker, though, every time he's on the mound for the Royals, just underperformed. 1-6 straight up into the run line in Walker's last 7 starts, but those were primarily as a dog. Kind of different scenario here. And then you got to look at KC 1-3 straight up and 0-4 to the run line when Walker is a favorite of minus 150 or less. So every situation where the line is either towards the favorite for Walker or as a dog, the dude is underperformed. Also, got to look at this one. KC 1-6-1 in first 5s when Walker's on the bump in his last 8 starts. Then you got Quantrill for Miami. 1-6-1 in first 5s in his last 8. However, you look at the last 5 games, Miami has made that comeback when Quantrill is out. 4-1 straight up in Quantrill's last 5 starts. It's because this Miami team just finds ways to win. This was during a very hot streak, and Quantrill was kind of their luck charm every time he went in there, and especially in his last 5 starts. Miami has done well versus Quantrill on the bump, going 5-3 straight up and 6-3 to the under in his home starts. Also, another key one here, Miami is 3-0 straight up, run line and first 5s versus AL teams when Quantrill is the starter. The run line's a little bit juicy here, so I'm going to throw that out the window. And knowing how bad Walker has performed as of late, at least with the KC Royals, I think you could play this 2 ways. I think you could take the first 5 if you want to play the pitchers on this one. But if you want to play the full game, knowing this Miami team is a fighter, no matter what inning it is, and they're going against a KC team that I'm just not high on this year. So I would take Miami every which way. If you want to take a first 5, you take it money line, just a lean, of course. That's the only way I would play this game. All right. Transitioning out of baseball for a second, I have already released my early bird specials in college football and in the NFL. That's right. I am historically good at the NFL. Last 2 years running, I've made bank. If you can combine the NFL in college football in the last 2 years, plus 135 units, all documented. Now, early bird special here. It goes to week 0, the start of week 0, kickoff of the ball going into Dublin, Ireland. That's when the deal is off. That's where we cut the ties on this one. 50% off if you get the season packages right now. You can just get the college package if you want. You can just get the NFL package, but I suggest you get the elite package. That's right. It is 50% off all these packages. Once that ball kicks off in week 0, it goes back up to the regular prices. I suggest you get in. Let's cash some tickets. This 2 of my best sports comes with write-ups. I explain all my plays to the T. I'm very detailed, very oriented, and I think there's people in this chat that watch me have been VIP members with me in the past, and they have cashed some tickets. So I would go check that out. Go to my Telegram and cash in on that deal. All right, next game on the board here, we got the LA Angels going against the Philadelphia Phillies at the bank. For no matter, it was a home run fest yesterday with the Philadelphia Phillies against the Angels, and you have Yusei Kikuchi on the mound. You say Kikuchi, I say Kakachi. We got LA just not great on the road, especially when Kikuchi is the starter. 3-7 straight up in his road starts. 9 of those were as a dog. And you have that situation here. And you look at the LA Angels, 2-2 straight up in Kikuchi's road starts versus NL teams, but 4-0 to the over. So we may be seeing another slugfest type of situation here with these two teams. We will have to see. Another thing that I want to bring up, and I don't bring it up a lot on the show, but it always is a part of my cap. And I know Jay Cavalier posted a video about it explaining barrel rate percentage. It is a very important statistic because it kind of gives you an idea, and it should correlate to high ERAs or high expected ERAs. And with Kikuchi, he has a very high barrel percentage, and it is really shown in the expected ERA because the expected ERA is 4.31 on a 3.11 current ERA. So he is expected to get shelled moving forward. Also, this is the highest total in all of Kikuchi's starts this year, and LA is 5-2 to the over when the total is 9 or more in Kikuchi starts. So maybe, like I said, I think we're going to be seeing some runs in this game. Now, we look at Walker. He's going to be on the mound here. This is the first time Walker has pitched against an AL team this year. All his pitches have been against the NL. Philly is 1-4 straight up in Walker's last 5 starts, but that came back. But just came back into the rotation, right? So he had a little bit of a stint where he was out. Now he's back in. And you look at Walker, he hasn't really done bad. I mean, his expected ERA is right on his current ERA. He's at a 3.52, and he has a low barrel percentage, okay? So he's really not expected to give up a lot of hits to this LA Angels lineup. So if you're going to expect hits in this game, I think it's more on the Philly side. And we already saw that yesterday in the game at the bank, and I think we're going to see it here. However, I want to play it against these two pitchers, Kikuchi versus Walker. If I'm playing this one in a first 5 inning perspective, I'm going to take the low barrel rate guy versus the high barrel rate guy all day long, and I think we do it in the first 5 inning window. Give me Philly money line as the lean. F5 is the only way I would play this one. Titan in the building says over makes sense on this game, and I can't agree. I agree with you on that one. Like I said, I just put it in my cap. Bryce Harper for a double. I mean, he's hitting the ball. Well, I mean, we'll see if he can do it today. Titan loves the Phillies. CT Films loves the Phillies today. Ryan Grimes coming in with some stats. Philly are 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games against the Angels. I mean, you must have had to go back a little bit on that one. And of course, Jared Kavanaugh in the building says, "Let's go Gunz." I wish my board still worked. I'd give you the horn. A little what's 50%? 50% off my college football and NFL packages right now on Telegram. So if you look at the pricing right now, you're getting it half off. And this is just an early bird special because I want you guys to experience a season with the Gunz. That's basically why I'm doing it this cheap, is because I want you guys to be involved, see what I can do, and then make you guys some money. And I'm telling you, Peter Graznia knows. He's been with me for 4 years. He is a true gun disciple. He has bought into the GUNZ. He knows. So take it for what it's worth. Be a part of me, part of everything that I'm doing here on Why Lose. If it's MLB, if it's NFL, if it's college football, and then college basketball moving forward, we'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about that one. And Peter says, great NFL analysis. You know it. And we're going to be doing it here on the J.A. Cavalier channel as well. All right, I digress. Let's go to the next play on the board here. We got the Chicago White Sox going on the road to face the Pittsburgh Pirates. Great stadium there in Pittsburgh. One of the best in the country. Great views there. But we have a good pitcher here, Adrian Hauser. Just absolute solid pitcher for the White Sox. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up on the trading block come up before the deadline. At least he should be. I'm sure some teams are inquiring about this guy because he's been great. 5-1 straight up in his last 6 starts, 4-2 straight up in Hauser starts as a dog of 150 or less. His barrel rate's low at a 4.7%. And he's got an expected ERA a little bit higher than his current because he's got a 1.56 current, and his expected ERA is 3.68. So that's a little bit concerning when I'm reading that statistic. He's a little bit different on the road, so maybe there's some speculation he's going to do a lot more road starts than he was at home because he was very heavy on his starts at home. He's only 2-3 straight up and 1, 2-2 in first 5s on the road this season. Mike Burrows on the other side on this one. Rare spot for Burrows as a favorite. He's only been a favorite once this year, and that was against Miami, and that ended up being a one. They not only won the game, but they covered the run line. It was an absolute domination from Burrows. Well, maybe not a domination, but it was at least a win by 2 runs plus. But Burrows is 1-3 straight up versus AL teams this season. So stats and trends kind of conflicting with one another here. Also, got to look at Pittsburgh. They've just been like kind of ice cold right now. 1-9 straight up in their last 10 games, but all of those were as a dog. Take note of that one. Because Pittsburgh 7-2 straight up in their last 9 games as a favorite and off a loss as a favorite last night. So one of those rare conditions where they were 7-1 as a favorite. Now they're 7-2 as a favorite, and they're a favorite here once again. I hate to say it. I think this is one of those situations that we take Pittsburgh. Even though Adrian Hauser has been a very productive pitcher here for the White Sox, it's still the White Sox. And Mike Burrows, as a favorite, at least that one condition when he faced Miami, a kind of a hot Miami team, he got it done. I think this is going to be a spot here that you would only take my Pittsburgh or pass, just to lean on this one. May not make my card because I just want to avoid bad streaks, especially with a cold team like the Pittsburgh Pirates. Lean on this one, Pittsburgh money line or pass. Talking to the chat one more time. Antone Parmero says, in the words of Jay Cavalier, I'd rather put shit in my hands and clap than touch or watch this game. Great. That's a great one right there. Titans likes Philly first 5. I do too. Ryan Grimes says pass or under here. Yeah, I can, that, like I said, this will not. I can tell you right now, if you're a VIP, this is not going to be on my card. I'm not going to take a chance on Pittsburgh right now, knowing how they've underperformed. But I think Grimes has got it right. I think the only way to play this, gun to the head, no pun intended, is Pittsburgh or under. Let's go to the next play on the board here. Not a great one over in my area here. San Diego versus the Washington Nationals. Nats Park will be rocking. No, it won't be rocking. If it is rocking, it's probably because there's more San Diego fans in the crowd than National fans. Yu Darvish is going to be on the mound, though. I mean, he brings in the numbies as far as asses in the seats, or at least he used to. Second start of the year, though. 1-1 straight up and 2-0 to the over in his starts. You look at the totals in that game, that was 7 and 9. Total's a little bit higher in this situation because you're playing a Washington team that is technically an over team, right? Mitchell Parker is going to be on the mound. 2-7 straight up in Parker's last 9 starts and 5-1 to the over in his last 6. Very short line, though. A little bit of a suspicious line, in my opinion, because in these short lines, when Parker's on the bump, 5-2 straight up, and to the run line in those situations. So when he's been a short dog, something happens with this kid and he gets it done. Plus these lines are, if the line is plus 135 or less, gets even stronger, by the way. The problem is on the side, Washington at home has just been terrible. 2-14 to the run line in their last 16 home games and 1-5 to the run line in Parker's last 6 starts at home. So this is a problem for Washington. They can get it done on the road. They can stay competitive on the road. It seems in a lot of cases, they seem to keep it close, win, lose, or draw. But at home, they just don't perform for any of their fans there. If they still exist at this point of the season, bad season, 2 years in a row. I would not touch this game at all. But if you were going to take this game, while the game kind of went over late yesterday, which is it was a play for me at 8.5. It's now 9. I just don't want to touch this one at all. If you're going to lean on this one, play the total. Just a low suspicious line that I don't want to take the side. I think the total has more validity. Lean towards the over in that game. And Titan says pass. I agree. I'm not going to put that one on my card. Palmero likes James Wood over 1.5 home runs. The prop master may give you some consultation on that. Go check him out on Telegram. And then we got Source coming in. Well, my man coming in. He's already getting ahead of me on this one, dropping plays, but he likes Guardians money line today. Let's go. Let's see what I think about that one. We'll get to that one in a second. Let's go to the next play. We have divisional matchup here in the East, AL East for that matter. Baltimore versus Tampa on this one. Good pitching matchup, by the way. Kind of a two pitchers that play low scoring affairs with Dean Kramer on the mound. Now, when you know anything about Dean Kramer, He's been an under pitcher lately. Last 9 starts, 8-1 to the under. So he's been a guy, doesn't matter what the total is, up, down, sideways, it has been low scoring. And he has been great versus divisional opponents this year. He's 5-0 in first 5, 4-1 straight up into the run line in those situations. He's 4-1 to the under. So under again, even versus divisional opponents. He's already faced Tampa twice this year, so you have a little bit of data on that one as well. All as a minus money line guy, though, in those situations. So take note of that. If you've seen him as a dog, that's a little bit suspicious on the side. And he's going against Zach Littell. Zach Littell, 2-4 straight up in his last 6 starts. Littell has faced Baltimore twice as well, 1-1 straight up in those situations. But this case, he is the highest favorite he has been in those spots. Both totals were 9.5 in those situations too, by the way. And you're seeing this thing tick down to 9. Also, Tampa is 4-2 to the under versus divisional opponents this year and 2-0 to the under at home. So if I were going to be playing this one, knowing these two pitchers are susceptible of playing unders, I would just throw the side out the window. Granted, like I said, Dean Kramer's pitched very well versus his divisional opponents this year, but the line is just too suspicious for me. I would think he would have been a little bit of a favorite on this spot, but I'm not going to be playing it that way. I'm going to be playing it towards the total. I like the under in this one. Only way I play this one, of course, this would be an official play too. I think I'm going to put this one on my card. I'm going to take the under 9 versus Baltimore versus Tampa today, baby. All right. Titan says lean O's in that one. I can't talk you off that one, but I just think there's some the contrary type of trends here when you're dealing with Littell. Sorry, just looking at the line here. I'm seeing minus 125s consistently here for Tampa. Then Soares, I like Baltimore, but Kramer has been sketchy lately. That's kind of the thing too. I was kind of looking at his data a little bit. He's kind of due for regression too. When is that going to hit? I don't know. But that's kind of why I'm kind of veering a little bit more towards the total. I think this could be a little bit closer game, knowing that Kramer has won 2 in a row versus Tampa already. Is he going to win 3? I don't know, but why is he a dog? That's kind of the concern that I have on that one. David James says Ray's good at home as a favorite. Yeah, I can't talk you off that one either, but the side, it's tough. But I like I said, the under is the way I would play this one. But if you're going to play this side, I can't argue with anybody taking Tampa. I can't argue with anybody taking Baltimore for that matter. All right, next game on the board, we got the Detroit Tigers going against the Texas Rangers in this game. A little bit of non-divisional play here with Cater Montero. He's going to be on the mound here. And when he is on the mound, the Detroit Tigers have been very strong. 7-2 straight up in Montero's last 9 starts, 2-2 straight up in his road starts, though. But 3 of those opponents were NL teams. So take note of that one. He's only had 1 opponent in the AL on the road. And then we got Kumar Rocker. Kumar Rocker just been great at home. Even though he's only had 4 starts this year at home, he's 4-1 straight up and 4-0 to the under in those positions. He's also 3-0-1 in first 5s. But those teams he faced at home, not really the caliber of a Detroit team that is leading the division, right? We're talking about Tampa, LA Angels, Chicago White Sox, and Seattle. Seattle is kind of veering towards the wild card-esque realm, but I don't think he's really been challenged at home this year, and he may have himself a challenge here today. The problem is the line you're seeing here with Cater Montero, who has performed well when he's been on the bump for Detroit. He's a dog here versus Rocker, and I don't understand why. So I'm a little hesitant to take a side on this one. I'm a little hesitant to be taking a total on this one as well, because I just don't like either or. And this is just going to be a complete pass for me. I just want to watch this game. And if Kumar Rocker gets it done today, we can take a little bit of a positive note to track when Kumar Rocker is at home. We're either going to take the Texas Rangers or we're going to pass. But I need to see him against some better teams. And I think this is one of those teams that is going to be the barometer for Kumar Rocker at home. CT says Rangers were good to me yesterday. Amen to that. There could be some bounce back, though, with the Detroit Tigers. We'll see. Maybe Detroit Tigers are due for some regression like Cameron Smith says. I don't know about that one. We'll see. Something tells me this game's going over. I got a feel. And if you feel it in the plums, trust your plums. That's what I say about that one. Lean towards the Tigers. I was on the Rangers yesterday, but I don't know if I trust Rocker. You meant Rocker, not Rocket. That'd be funny if his name was Kumar Rocket. Great name. He was a pitcher. Roger Clemens might have a cease and desist, though. Jared Kavanaugh says Tigers play tough. Yeah. Tigers run line for CT Films as well. A lot of people liking this game. You can trust the chat, but for me, I'm going to pass on it. Let's go to the next game on the board here. We got the Athletics versus the Cleveland Guardians. I keep taking a pause every time I say Guardians because I want to say Indians, and by God, I need to change that in my vernacular, but I digress. Let's go to this game with Luis Severino. Struggled, to say the least. 1-11 straight up in his last 12 starts and 10-2 to the over. He's been an over pitcher, and he's been a fade pitcher. But I don't like the line in this one. It is just baiting people to take the Cleveland Guardians. Because we look at Logan Allen. Logan Allen is 7-2 the under in his last 9 starts, but he's been wishy-washy. Win, loss. I don't even know what's going to happen in this one. And Allen is a lefty. Now, when you think about lefties, Athletics can hit lefties. As far as batting average is concerned, because they're 8th in the league versus left-handed pitching in terms of batting average. However, they're 25th in RBIs, so they can't score runs. So I don't get that at all. It tells me one side, tells me the other. It's just another game that I don't want to mess with here because I just think this line is just too low. If it was, I think I would assume that this would be a minus 150 plus line, especially when you're dealing with Severino, who's absolutely been awful all season long. And I would think that the total would be a little bit higher on this one, just sitting at 9. It did open at 8.5. I would think if it was a real high scoring Athletics type of line, you would see 10 plus. We're not seeing it here. So I don't know what's going on. The only way I'd play this one is pass. I don't even have a side. I don't have a total. It's just one of those games that I just wrote a couple notes just to give to you guys. And I knew exactly where I was going to go with this one. And it was to the next game. Jared Kavanaugh says struggle bus for real. Another over here for Palmeiro. Go for it, man. I mean, the problem is you got an over pitcher versus an under pitcher. So it kind of washes itself out, right? Yin versus yang, 2 magnets trying to go together. Nothing happens. Source says Guardians money line Severino has been fade. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with you. If you're going to be betting, you're going to be putting your hard-earned coin on Severino. It's like betting the Washington Generals versus the Harlem Globetrotters. You're expecting the things to change, but it just doesn't change, and you never step in front of a streak as well. Peter Grazia says, can't believe they didn't rename as Cleveland Rockers. That would make sense because, I mean, you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Cleveland Rocks, the whole deal. That would make the most sense on that one. Cleveland Rockers, great name. Love that, Peter Grosnier. You should have been in marketing for Cleveland to kind of politic for that name. But we keep it moving. Now we get to talk about why I'm wearing this hat today. No, I'm not going to be taking the Boston Red Sox in this one. Boston Red Sox versus the Chicago Cubs is the game we're going to be talking about. But I do have a take on the total. Brian Bayo is going to be on the mound, coming off, of course, this Boston team, red hot going into the All-Star break, 10 straight wins. Got their loss yesterday, lost 4-1 in early play in Wrigley. Now you got a good matchup here with Bayo. However, road Bayo, not great. 1-3 straight up and 3-1 to the over versus NL team. So he's underperformed in interleague play. He's also 1-3 straight up and 3-1 to the over in his road starts. But it wasn't his fault. It was the bullpens because he's 3-1 straight up in first 5. So a little bit of difference here, a little bit of difference there. That's why we look at every single statistical variance between start to start, inning to inning, and half to half. We got Shota Imaga, who's been great. And Chicago Cubs tend to show up when he is on the bump. Last 8 starts, he's 6-2 straight up. High barrel rate, though. So take note of that one. This pitcher is a red flag, and it's going to be coming somewhat soon. Maybe in this game, we will see high expected ERA, too. 3.81 out of a 2.65 current. So that kind of correlates to the high barrel rate. You're going to see guys try to knock this guy, and it may happen in this game because Amaga is a lefty. And if you know anything about the Boston Red Sox, they love pelting lefties. Ranked first in team batting average versus lefties. They're ranked 6th in home runs, and they're number 1 in RBIs versus lefties. They salivate every time they face a lefty. And then granted, you have 2 pitchers that are over pitchers too. So that correlates there. You have an Imaga guy. I'm sorry. Imaga's kind of all over the place, but you look at the total in this one. The total has been above 8 once in Imaga starts this year, and that was against the LA Dodgers. And that game went over in the 2nd inning. You got a higher total here at 9. That should tell you everything you need to know about this game. This is going to be on my card for sure. I'm taking Boston, Chicago Cubs over the total 9 as the play, knowing that they played an early game yesterday. This one's going to be playing at night. They get a little bit of extra rest as well. That early game, you never know how those batters are going to show up. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring here, and Palmeiro agrees over the total here. We're going to be seeing some runs here today, baby. Sox smash lefties, so true. Absolutely. And we got to take advantage of that, even though the perception is Imaga is an ace. But wait till they see this Boston lineup absolutely just crush the ball in Wrigley. Cubs are going to turn up another notch in the second half of the season. Give me the Cubs. Can't talk you off that one. Like I said, I'm not going to take the side on this one because Brian Bayo's the pitcher on the other side. So I just would rather take runs. Lost to Red Sox yesterday. I don't blame you playing the streak, but I did see a stat today on, I think, ESPN this morning. A team's going on a 10-plus win streak into the All-Star break. They end up losing the next game. I think they gave 4 instances where that happened. All losses, 0-4 straight up in those situations. So take note of that. Next game on the board, let's go to my rival here with the New York Yankees versus the Atlanta Braves. This is going to be in Hotlanta on this one, and you have Will Warren on the mound here for the New York Yankees. 5-3 straight up in his last 8 starts. However, not a great run line pitcher when Warren is on the bump in this situation. 1-5 to the run line when he is a favorite of -150 or less, and 1-5 to the run line in Warren starts versus NL teams. NL team, heavy favorite. Bad for the run line. So maybe a close game. However, it's going to be a bullpen game for the Atlanta Braves. They got a relief pitcher in there in Joey Wentz. Joey Wentz is a pitcher. I think this is his 3rd team this year. If I looked at my stats right, he's been with 3 teams already, and he's going to go in there for an inning or 2, and then they're going to bring in the next guy, and then they're going to bring in the next guy. And I really don't know what the mentality is for the Atlanta Braves here. And seeing how the game ended up yesterday, I don't want to take either side. I wish it was a better pitching matchup here for Atlanta because it would be a great spot to fade Will Warren on the run line, and we could just take Atlanta plus 1.5 or whatever the line would be. The problem is I'm just not going to be messing with a bullpen when I don't even know how many pitchers are going to be in this game and what pitchers are going to be in this game. It's kind of it's a gamble without, there's no history. There's nothing. This is just a complete pass for me altogether. Titan says that Acuna throw, my goodness, I like the bro. Yeah, that throw, that dude is an absolute. What a dart he threw. I mean, you can't. That'll teach batters. I was like, whatever. If it's going to Acuna, doesn't matter what this. You can't go grab that extra base because that dude has a rifle of an arm from that side. But we're going to move forward. We're going to pass on that game. Let's go to the next game on the board. We have the Cardinals going against the NL West aforementioned Arizona D-backs, and it's Sonny Gray Day. And when Sonny Gray is on the mound, St. Louis tends to perform for him 10-2 straight up in his last 12 starts. The only 2 losses were on the road versus divisional opponents. They are on the road, however, outside the division. Then you have St. Louis, 3-1 straight up in Gray's starts on the road versus non-divisional opponents. So he's performed great outside the division. Then you got St. Louis, 4-0 to the under in Gray starts as a road favorite. He's a road favorite here. Gray played also, there's stats on Gray. He's already played against the Arizona D-backs. They won that game. Now we got to go move to the next pitcher on this one with Ryan Nelson. Ryan Nelson, 4-2 straight up in his last 6 starts. He's actually the Arizona Diamondbacks have performed well, and he is on the bump. 4-1 straight up and 5-0 to the under at home. You look at the splits, too. This is something key here when we look at Ryan Nelson on the mound. Bad road pitcher, great home pitcher, right? 2.17 ERA at home versus a 5.79 ERA on the road. Very huge delta between home versus away splits. He also has a high barrel rate, and he has a high expected ERA. So I think the statistics are kind of telling you this dude just getting lucky, and he's due to get hit. Third time this season, Nelson has faced an NL Central team, but it's the first time as a dog. So the line functionality there is kind of working against him. But when I look at this game, while Nelson has a high barrel rate, high expected ERA, I think maybe that's a little bit of because of the delta between his away versus home starts. He has performed well at home. And of course, Gray has performed well outside the division, going 3-1 straight up. And he's gone 4-0 to the over when he's a road favorite. So take note of that. A lot of unders. I think this is an underplay here. So give me St. Louis, Arizona under the total here, 8.5 as the play. Titan says he likes the Cards on this one. And Ryan Grimes giving a shout out to Coach Rick. D-backs first 5 again yesterday. But Sonny Gray on the mound makes me want to take the under. First 5. I think you can split it. I think you can take full game on the under on that one as well. Yeah, big hit for him on that one. Absolute domination there for the Arizona D-backs. I had the over in that game. Got a little nervous there towards the end, but we got there. St. Louis actually found some runs late in the game, and we got the over on that one. Next game on the board. Let's do it. Minnesota Twins are going against the Colorado Rockies. Ugh. Is anybody going to be watching this game? I'm sure not. Zebby Matthews is going to be on the mound. First start coming off the IL, by the way. So he hasn't pitched since June 4th. So not a lot of data on him. 4 starts this season, 3-1 straight up, though, however. So now totals in that situation, 7, 7, 7, and 10. The 10 was against the Athletics. Game ended under 6-1. Then you got Senzatella. Senzatella, you look at the totals for Colorado, it's been correlated to the over, but Senzatella's been an under pitcher lately on these high totals. 4-1 to the under in his last 5 home starts, but the total has been 10.5 or more in all those home starts. So maybe they're getting close, but they're still getting the under. However, this one is ticking upward. Yesterday, it was 10.5. Now you're seeing 11 or more going into this one. 4-2 to the over. And Senzatella's starts when the total is 11 or more. So while I'm not going to be touching the total, once again, I tried to do it yesterday. Didn't come to fruition. It's stuck at 10. I thought it was going to go over. And Minnesota just forgot how to score runs. And that's why I'm not going to be taking the side at all. I lean towards the over in this one just because, maybe a little bit of revenge element of let's score some runs here. Minnesota and Colorado can put the bat on the ball in their home park in Coors. But the only way I play this one is the over or pass. Not going to be officially on my card, of course. Just a lean. All right. We've just been piling through these plays, and I appreciate the chat getting live. If you are watching this video now live or you're watching it later, here's what you need to do. You need to take that cursor. You need to move it over to this thumbs up button that is below this video on YouTube, and you need to hit the thumbs up. You need to smack it. Just give it a little tappy tap. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. If you like the content that is coming off the channel, I'm giving it to you for free. That's all I ask from you. That is what it's going to cost here to watch this show. I'll wait. You done it? Okay. All right. We're good with that one. Basically go to my, sign up for my Telegram, Why Lose Guns, and go check me out on all social media platforms at Gunz Picks, X, Instagram, and TikTok, and Why Lose Guns on Instagram, especially. That's where most of my content is going to be on the IG. Next game on the board. Let's talk about Milwaukee going on the road to go face the LA Dodgers. This is going to be an electric matchup here because Freddie Peralta is on the mound. Freddie Peralta, of course, Milwaukee has shown up when he is on the bumps. 1-6 straight of his starts, 5-1 to the over in those positions. But Milwaukee is 3-5 straight up in Peralta's starts as a dog. However, he started 0-5, then he won 3 straight. So take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Also, the over is 4-1 in his last 5 starts as the dogs. And you got a high total here at 8.5. Now, 8.5 to you might not be a high total, but that's a high total when Peralta is on the bump. On the other side, we have Emmett Sheehan. He's going to be pitching here. 2 starts under his belt, but all those starts were as minus 90, 190 plus favorites. Sitting here is a little bit of a short favorite in this situation. 1-1 in those starts, 2-0 to the under, and those totals were 9.5 on this one. So a little bit of a line functionality here. So while I want to say over on this one, I think we're looking at a lower scoring game like we saw yesterday where that game ended 2-0. Also, you got to look at the Dodgers, 5-1 to the under versus NL Central teams when the total is 8.5. So I think we're looking at a low scoring affair here in this game, knowing Freddie Peralta can pitch very well against his. It seems like an anemic lineup versus the NL Central, very low scoring in a lot of those situations. So if I'm going to be playing this one, I'm going to be playing the under Milwaukee Dodgers under the total 8.5 as the play. And Cameron Smith says he agrees. Only way to play this one is to play the under. I can't agree with you more. Book it, baby. That's right. Give him the horn on that one. Always fade Sheehan and Casparias. Casparias, yeah, he's won a few, though, because if he gets Shohei Ohtani to pitch in front of him, it seems like he gets the dub. However, you're probably right. If he's going to be going in there to be the main stage pitcher, it's a little bit tough. I would think they would be a dog, though, against Freddie Peralta if the books really thought Sheehan was going to lose this game. And, of course, CT Film says, ride the Brew Crew till they lose. I can't disagree with you on that one either. Side, whatever. Let's play the total and pray it stays low. All right. The last and final play on this MLB slate Saturday. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's talk Houston versus the Seattle Mariners on this one. Lance McCullers versus Logan Evans. And we got a doozer here, and we have data to go on both pitchers. Why? Because we have McCullers. McCullers is 1-3 straight up and 3-1 to the over in his last 4 starts. Now McCullers has gotten shelled as of late, giving up 4.5 runs in his last 4 starts. He's been a regressing pitcher. However, versus divisional opponents, he's been great. 3-1 straight up and 4-0 to the over versus the AL West. All those totals, by the way, were 8. And we got an 8 here. Once again, with McCullers versus a divisional opponent. Now, Logan Evans is on the bump here for Seattle. 3-5 straight up and 6-2 to the over in his last 8 starts. Seattle is 3-1 to the over in Evans' home starts and 4-0 in first 5s, by the way. But this will be Evans' first start versus a divisional opponent at home. His only other start was on the road versus Texas and Jacob deGrom, and that was a loss, but he was a plus 158 dog in that situation. I think we're seeing him as a favorite here at minus 127. So a little bit of a flip here from home versus away. McCullers did face Seattle on May 22nd, was a plus 114 dog, by the way, won that game 9-2. So he is kind of in a position where he's won as a short dog versus divisional opponent. And you have Logan Evans that has a very significant line functionality here, plus 158 in his first game. Game went over, did lose that game, but you're seeing him as a favorite here. However, am I going to play a side? Absolutely not here. I'm going to give you the total on this one. I think this game goes over. Give me Houston, Seattle over the total here at 8 as the play, baby. And drop it in the chat. Smith says, Mariners money line? No, I'm not playing a side on this one. A CT says, I'm dropping. Lean Mariners. Seattle, nah. No side, over. That's the way I'm playing this one. Of course, CT is saying Cubs, Phillies, Mets, 3-pack, money line. My best plays today. Gonna have some coin for UFC tonight. Let's go, baby. Let's have ourselves a damn day. And I just dropped the entire board. Now it is time for best bets. Let's do it. So on best bets, I'm not going to give you one. I'm going to give you 2. These are the ones that I like the most on the board today. And I'm giving them to you for free. That's right. Right now on the show, if you're watching this video, you're getting 2 plays that pay the bills. All you have to do is hit the like button and support the Why Lose Network and the J.A. Cavalier channel. Let's talk the under in San Francisco, Toronto, under 8. I love that one with Logan Webb versus Eric Lauer. San Francisco cannot hit lefties, folks. They can't hit them. They can't get runs. They can't get hits. It's going to be low scoring. May lean towards Toronto. However, I think it's going to be more low scoring in this one, similar to what you saw yesterday. Take the under San Francisco, Toronto. And of course, the last game that I talked about today, Houston, Seattle over the total 8. You have 2 over pitchers susceptible to giving up runs, giving up hits, Lance McCullers and Logan Evans. And I think we're going to see a similar type of situation here. Side I avoid, but I would take those 2 as the play. No parlay today. Why? Because my guy Shark is not in the building. However, he will be back tomorrow if his power can turn on, and we will give the plays that paid the bills at 11 a.m. on Sunday, like we do every single Saturday, every single Sunday. We also give away the matinee plays. If there's matinee plays on the board, we will have a show for you in the morning to give you the proper information, the sharpest information on the planet. And like I said, I am going to have a 5 max. I'm going to have a 50 dime max play today in the MLB. I didn't even talk about it today. If you want that play, go to my Telegram. I'll put the post up there, and it's a day pass. You not only get the max bet, you get the rest of my card too. And if that max bet doesn't hit, I'll give you the month of all my plays. If you're not a member of the entire year package and you didn't take advantage of the $100 a season package deal, which is off the board now, it's a $50 bet right now of a month of my plays. And believe me, you will make money. That's how it's going to be here for Gunz. I work hard. I win money. That's all I do. And I appreciate everybody in the chat. I appreciate all you guys joining here. CT says, appreciate you, Gunz. Appreciate you, my man. I appreciate everybody. Please join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. East. Shark and the Gun, the dynamic duo, giving you the plays that pay the bills. You know how we've done on the weekends. We're hitting about 70 to 80% all these takes. I've counted. I've looked. Peter Grazia knows. He's a true gun disciple. He says, thank you, Gunz. Let's cash again. So that's going to do it here for Player Performance on Saturday. I am Gunz Picks. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the bowl. And as always, yep, let's keep dancing. Bang!
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Suffocation, no breathing. Don't give a fuck if I cut my